Hey everybody, CVH here, Carl Machado here, and we're for Team Cyberlord Games here talking about the new Force of Will trading card game. As you can now see on your screen, the topic we're going to be talking about today is limited formats and Force of Will. Most trading card games have them and support them as a viable tournament type of play. Like, of course, constructed deck is where you bring your own deck of cards. Your own mana deck, your own constructed deck, everything, and you play with that deck. Limited is when you play using a limited card pool, such as like a sealed deck format and a booster draft format. I'm sure most of you are familiar with how these things work in other card games. Just a basic overview, of course, as you can see here. Booster draft, players open packs and pass them around the table, picking one card at a time. Sealed deck, players receive a specified number of booster packs and build their own decks with only the cards that they open. And we're just going to hear, and there's a link in the description below to this file that we're looking at right here on screen. It has a lot of the pertinent information, and you can go through and see specifics, but we just want to give you a general idea of how this works and the differences it might be from other card games you're used to.
Yeah, we're not going to go over all the heavy details here, but just kind of point out the main differences that are relative to Force of Will.
Yeah,
and some of the confusion that you guys might have, like this first one that tripped me and CVH up for a little bit. We weren't exactly sure because they don't really specify it, but I'm pretty sure this is like the way that they're going to do it that makes the most sense. But your ruler.
Mm-hmm.
All decks have a ruler, as you know in Force of Will. Like, you have to choose your ruler for your constructed deck. We thought originally, like with the limited format, how is the ruler system going to work? Are you going to have to pull a ruler, or do you get to bring your own?
Because there'd be some problems with that. Like, what happens if you just never see a ruler in draft, or your six sealed packs don't have a ruler?
Yeah. So what goes on here? Basically, you get to bring a ruler from any of the cluster, which is basically the block of sets that come out. Like with the Grim set,
you have the
Crimson Moon and
the Castle have them in the two towers.
Exactly. So you
which you can see the set reviews for them.
Any of the 20 rulers, you can bring any one of them to be your ruler for your constructed or sealed deck.
And if you don't happen to like pull one in your sealed pool or get one in the booster draft, you're in luck anyway, because even if you don't have the ruler, like you don't even own it, you can proxy any ruler for this sort of format.
Yes.
Because the idea of these formats is that they're easy for new players to get into. Like, you just want to play a limited deck because you don't have the collection to play constructed at the moment. So letting you proxy a ruler that exists within the cluster or block of cards is really good for that type of play.
And that being said, on this rule sheet, they are very specific about how you proxy the ruler. You do have to bring a list with you with the ruler that you're going to use, all the card text for that ruler for the front and back if it has a J ruler side as well. So
Stuff
you have
highlighted right here.
Right, you have to bring everything for it. Now, that being said, when do you choose your ruler? Do you have to bring the ruler with you beforehand, or do you get to choose your ruler afterwards? And the conclusion that we've come up with that we're pretty sure about
it seems
the way
it has
it's
to be afterwards.
You have to bring it afterwards. Or you don't have to, but you get to choose your ruler afterwards. Once you've drafted all your cards out of your packs, you've opened all your sealed packs, and you built a deck that you think sort of works, you get to choose the ruler that'll work best for your sealed pool or your draft deck.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so basically another difference that you might be familiar with, if you played like Magic or Kaijudo or something like most of us have, the deck counts are a little different because, of course, in Force of Will, you have your separate Magic Stone deck that is your mana base for the game, whereas in Magic or Kaijudo, your cards in your main deck serve as your mana. So when you're building a deck in sealed or draft format in Force of Will, you only need 20 minimum cards for your main deck, and your Magic Stone deck actually goes down to a minimum of 8. So you can have 8 total Magic Stones. And of course the Magic Stones, the basic ones, are provided. Of course, if you pull a special Magic Stone, you can use it. And as with any card in your main deck, you can use over 4 copies of anything in a limited format. Yes. So if you pull like 5 of some 1-drop with haste, then you might just be drafting the most insane aggro deck because 5 out of 20 cards are that card.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing limited. Other differences, I checked my phone.
To clarify real quick too on the Magic Stones, like you said, the Magic Stones are provided for you. And again, with the special Magic Stones, like those are a card that you actually can pull. Like, you can't like bring your own Magic Stone. You can't build your own Magic Stone deck out of your personal collection.
You can bring your basic Magic Stones, like the Fire, Light, Water, Darkness, whatever.
Basics are the only thing you have access to outside of your draft picks. Other than that, anything you pull, like special stone-wise, you get to use. So
it effectively works if any of you are familiar with how the Magic land system works. You can bring your own basic lands, but special lands have to be pulled. And a lot of the times they're a pretty hot commodity. Like dual stones are very useful when you're building a limited deck that most often has more than one color or attribute.
And like you said, it's not outlandish to. Like with the 8 cards, like it helps with percentages, obviously, but even with like the 20 card decks, like I said, you get to choose the multiple. Like you pull 5 of the Hunter guy that has haste. Like running all 5, like it's foreseeable to actually not only pull like 5 or 6 in your sealed packs if you open Crimson Moon, but like drafting it too, like using proper draft strategy, but we'll get into that at a later time.
Yep, and here's one of the other major differences because Force of Will actually, as many distributors are becoming aware, has these interesting God packs that you can pull, which I believe you can either get like all the dual stones of a set, 2 copies of each, all the supers, or something else. Down here you can see how the sets are actually drafted.
You're gonna have to scroll up a little more so that you can.
Well, they can click the file, but
Right.
down here you can see how the sets will be drafted in a tournament. But up here is the interesting part about the dual stones. Occasionally, a player in a limited tournament may open a booster pack that contains an abnormal number of cards or an abnormal number of cards, such as the God packs that they do reference here. And of course, it goes over specifics here, but basically what's going to have to happen is that you have to bring it to the attention of the tournament organizer that you open such a pack, and various actions can be taken. You either switch it with a pack with the tournament organizer that isn't altered such like that, like a normal booster pack, you have to give them the pack back, or you can give them more money and effectively buy a 4th pack. You won't be able to use the cards from that God pack, but you'll be able to draft or play sealed with the regular pack.
Yeah. So and I mean this is the only ruling that I kind of have an issue with, and I guess that's what makes this Force of Will different from other games with this whole God pack thing. But
it doesn't really affect the actual game. It's just sort of inconvenient.
It is like the whole, especially like the fact they put in that you drop the tournament if you can't get another pack. Like I mean, God forbid, like you run into a tournament where they just don't have extra packs.
Tournament organizers should be required to have extra packs, I think, especially with God packs in the mix like that.
So it's something to keep in mind if you are planning on hosting a draft event. Like this is something you really do have to like.
Please have extra packs.
Exactly, make sure that you're aware of, and
if someone pulls a God pack, they're going to be happy, but they don't want to drop from the tournament just because they pulled one.
And they definitely probably don't want to turn it in.
They really don't want to do that. You have to give them the opportunity to keep that pack and be able to pay for an extra pack to use.
Yes, exactly. So, and I think
that is almost. I think the only difference is well, the packs have less cards. In Kaijudo, when they started being limited viable, and Magic, the packs have 14 cards, and one of which was a land in Magic. In this game, they only have 10 cards.
10 cards.
One of them is a stone,
including the 1 land. So
of course,
9 playable cards.
One basic stone. Obviously, if you pull a special stone, it's different.
But there's also the possibility of pulling a ruler card. So like we said, with the whole choosing your ruler at the end, like you still get to choose a ruler at the end of your pulls or whatever, but if you pull a ruler in your packs, like if you actually pull a ruler or a J ruler in your pack, you have to call that to the attention of everyone in your draft pod. And now and then you just draft that card like regular.
I can't find the word it says about rulers, but check the form.
Exactly. But when you pull that ruler, it has to be brought to the attention of your pod, and then you draft with it just like it's a regular card. Now, if you wind up drafting this J ruler, you can actually add it to your side deck and potentially switch out, rulers in between games. So basically,
there is some merit to drafting a ruler, so you can have multiple at your disposal. Because as in any game, the cards that you don't wind up adding to your main deck in this limited format are your sideboard. Like as many as there are. Like if you're playing in draft, there are 4 packs being used, so 40 cards in total in play. I should minus the basic stones. Yeah. But about 36, and then you have a 20 minimum card main deck, and the rest of that is all your sideboard, so you can swap it out. A lot of the cards won't be able to be used because they're probably different colors, but that's all at your disposal. And for a sealed tournament, you have a total of 6 packs that you open, and then you get to build a deck out of those cards, which is pretty normal, 6 packs. So then you have a 20 card minimum, and of course the Magic Stone deck on the side.
24 some odd cards if you don't build the 20 minimum.
And the question I had was, with such small packs, you can't really do pods of 8 because only 1 card will come back to you, or like 2, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
2 with one of them being the stone that probably is going to get passed all the way around.
So, how would that work? Because a lot of the strategy in drafting is seeing what will come back around to you and making your picks based on those sort of outcomes. What they did is the pods are 4 minimum of people instead of 8. So I'm assuming for a major tournament they're going to try to group everyone into pods of 4 and maybe the occasional pod of 5 to round out the numbers. So that makes a lot more sense than pods of 8 would. And that was basically the one question I had about how the smaller packs would impact a limited format. And they handled it well, I think. I think 4 packs is interesting. Gonna have to do some test drafts to see how it works.
Yes.
I think that's all the differences, and if you have any more questions, be sure to click the link below. It'll take you to this rules sheet. I didn't include the link in the top because it's just confusing. Just click the link in the description, and you'll be taken here. And it talks about deck construction times, too. You have 10
procedures.
For a limited booster draft, you have 10 to 20 minutes to create your deck. 10 if deck lists aren't required, 20 if they are required. And for a sealed tournament, I believe you have more time because you have such a bigger card pool. It's 20 to 30. 20 if you have no deck list, 30 if you do have a deck list. Hopefully deck lists are required, and you have extra time as well, like 20 extra minutes to write down your entire card pool if there's a deck swap. A lot of games do deck swaps where you write down your entire card pool that you open out of 6 packs, swap with someone else, just to ensure honesty that no one's adding extra cards.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with like draft procedures, when you're actually in the draft itself and drafting cards, like they go through all the different timings, the 60 seconds after you open your pack to look through your pack, grab your first card, pass. They go through the clockwise, counterclockwise, going between packs for drafting,
Yep,
and all that other fun stuff. That's all here in the list, so definitely go check out that link below if you want to know more. And if you have any questions, leave us a comment, and we'll do our best to answer and kind of go through it with you.
So be sure to check out the other videos on the channel, set reviews, etc. More coming soon, and I guess we'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah, guys. Later.